Bennett is 5 months old or 7 months old and the kid's seen 7 wins, it's like, Dad's on a run. Dad's on fire right now.
Fore-play, presented by Barstool Sports. I believe we are down to just 4 remaining shows in the year of 2024 as we enter mid-December here. I'm joined by my fellow friends, Councilman Ryan from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and Councilman Borelli from Long Island, New York. Gentlemen, nice to see you. Welcome to the council. How's everybody feeling about, mid-December here and the latest developments in our world?
I feel like I should be wearing a Supreme Court robe or something. You know, that feel would be more fitting for the appointment that we have. Don't even fully really know what it entails. I know there are details to it that we'll probably get into, but I never thought that I would ascend to a point in my life where I would be part of a council. So I'm honored. I don't know what it means, but I'm honored.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long road with the PGA Tour. I think that's what you're alluding to, that we're on the Creator Council alongside other creators in the YouTube golf space and on Instagram. You know, you got a lot of different types of people on that council, and it's great, I guess. It's good. It's all good stuff. It's all positive stuff. I don't think anything that we expected. Definitely not years ago when we were feuding with the PGA Tour. You guys were getting kicked out of events, and we always kind of have stuff to say about the PGA Tour. And listen, they're trying to pave a new way forward to see how like all of this stuff can work and coincide together, and kind of like, you know, everyone can be successful at their events. I think they have a long way to go. I think that's why we're kind of a part of this thing, that we've had firsthand experiences of issues that we've had at events and issues that we've had trying to grow our business while also existing or coexisting with the PGA Tour. For example, if we had to go do a video for ourselves, like there was never a chance of us ever doing one at a PGA Tour event. There's way too much red tape. There's way too much bullshit that really happens at events. It's way too corporate. It's way too stuck up. You try and do a video on a driving range, you got to send it to 17 different people that have to get it approved for us to talk to Tommy Fleetwood. It's like, he's just our friend. Like, can't we just use common sense? It feels like the world is sort of shifting back towards the common sense era. It's like, this video's fine. Can we just post it? Like, do you guys have any trust in us to just post this video? Like, are we partners, or if we're not trusted, why do we have the badge? Why are we inside the row? You know what I mean? Like, at some point there needs to be like trust that we're normal human beings and we can just get the job done. We're not going to do anything. Also, like, no one's not watching the PGA Tour event because there was a swing in the background of our interview with Tommy Fleetwood on the driving range. So at some point, it all needs to be kind of figured out. And I think that's what they're seeing. They are late to the game. There's no denying that. This isn't going to be like a buddy councilman meeting. Like, we're also like, even in the first one, when I hopped on with them, it's like, I gave it to them. I'm like, this is great. Like, you guys don't let us do anything. Like, I don't know if we're going to ever go to a PGA Tour event again. Like, we don't get to do anything. So they understand very, very clearly what needs to happen. And yeah, I mean, there's other groups like Barstool Sports and No Laying Up that have like submitted their issues that they've also had in terms of media rights and all of that stuff. So yeah, I think it's only positive. I think they're seeing what's happening with the other leagues and everything else, and it's all good.
I Googled most famous councils, and it's an interesting list of 12 or so, First Council of Constantinople. And on this list, held during the 15th and 16th centuries, it says Council of Trent.
Whoa. We got one in 2024 now too, a Council of Trent.
What do you think they discussed?
Of Trent.
What do you think they discussed?
I'm just asking what you thought they discussed, man.
The Council of Trent was a series of meetings held in Trent, Italy from 1545 to 1563 that were a key part of the Catholic Counter-Reformation.
Great. I'm thrilled with it. I didn't know there was even a Trent, Italy. That's news to me.
Pope Paul III to address challenges from the Protestant Reformation and reform the Catholic Church, the Council of Trent. Look, I think Frankie nailed it. It's been a long history of the PGA Tour. There were times where we were banned from events. There were times where folks from the tour called Barstool Sports HQ thinking that they were going to speak to someone that represented something that one would consider an HR department. And they got like office manager Brett, basically. And they were like, we're never going to ever work with this group ever going forward. And now here we are on this council. It was released in a press statement. It says the council is an example of how the tour evolves, and that starts with our fans, said Andy Weitz, the tour's chief marketing and communications officer / investor relations. When the Classic occurred, we said, wow, this is a moment. We stepped back and said, let's build on these events. Let's learn as a tour how we can be better. We will look at collaborative content, what we could create together. There may be cases where the tour has a point of view that helps us create content that the creators could be a part of. One of the big issues with the whole creating content situation is media rights. PGA Tour's bottom line when it comes to revenue at all is driven by TV rights. TV rights in all professional sports are a huge deal. Everybody knows that. Tour has locked in pretty much always with NBC and with CBS when it comes to PGA Tour coverage. And those are encompassing contracts that pretty much take up any media version of filming something that is considered part of the competition is prohibited because it's been reserved for these hundreds of millions of dollars that the media entities have paid to have those rights. And so they're in this weird conflict where since, all that stuff has been drawn up, what has emerged is sort of short form video, which is what we do, which is TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that type of stuff, YouTube videos, where they didn't really foresee that coming, being such an enormous part of the media pie. And they're trying to navigate all that stuff. So we understand that it's tricky, but there's a lot of red tape, infuriating amount of red tape. I told the story before of when I got my Inside the Ropes pass at a very prominent PGA Tour event earlier this year. I was told to promise that I wouldn't capture any content. So I basically was told you're not allowed to work. However, enjoy this Inside the Ropes pass and just walk around and enjoy yourself as much as possible, which is like a vacation when it's like, no, we're spending money to fly all the way out here, get Ubers, get hotels, try to capture content and do our job, and we're not allowed to do our job. So here we are on this council. I have no idea how it's going to go. I think we all we're reading that language. It sounds fine. I imagine there's going to be some interesting moments, some contentious moments. Hopefully there's a lot of kind of solutions where we navigate through all of the stuff that currently exists that makes it complicated. And people that just enjoy creating golf content can do more of it around the PGA Tour, because as we've said many times to them, if we really boil down to the nuts and bolts of it, it's like if we fly to Pinehurst for 3 days and we film 3 or 4 30 to 60 minute long YouTube videos, we could sell those to prospective partners or our sponsors and make a good amount of money. If it costs us 10 grand in expenses to get there and all that, we can offset that and make a good amount of money on those videos. If we fly to the PGA Tour event and we spend 10 grand in cost to get there, put everybody up, the whole deal, we can't make any money when we go there. If in fact we have to do it off-site, maybe we try to do a live event, which we've tried to do, but we can make fractionally the amount of money in those 3 or 4 days. So for us to go to a tour event, cover it, is almost impossible in order to try to make money. Now we still do it because I think that there's juice. It's good for us to have more of a comprehensive type business that covers golf. And if we get access to President's Cup or the East Lake or major championships, it's kind of cool for us to be there. These are the same goofballs that, shoot 1 million on YouTube videos, trying to break 190, trying to get a driver on planet Earth for once. And then they're also inside the ropes with the best players in the world. That's pretty cool, but it's really hard for us to make money and get the content that we would like to get. And so that's why we don't go to a ton of tour events. Tour knows that. And they've kind of created this council, I think, to try to figure all that out. So
I look at it in very simple terms. It's another win for the internet. That's really how I look at things. Our voice and the voices of the other people on the council clearly have gotten large enough that they were like, we want to have this voice in the room when we make these decisions. Is it going to change anything? That's yet to be seen. But at the very least, we're going to have these meetings, and us and the people on the council have created something outside of the system that doesn't have media rights. It doesn't have any of those things, but we certainly have a following. We have people who pay attention to us. This is where the world is going. And yeah, it would be dumb of the PGA Tour to not include us in future talks at the very least. That's really how I look at it. It's definitely a good thing. Again, talk to me in a year, see what sort of fruits this has bared. But right now, it's just, again, we've all created this thing in the YouTube space where there's a huge audience, and the PGA Tour at the end of the day wants an audience. There's all these threats now. There's LIV that is just, it's still there. And the PGA Tour is like, what can we do to try to get a step ahead, or at least get on the same playing field as all these other leagues? And I think including a council like this, at least theoretically, is a very good idea. And it's good for us.
I agree. So we'll see what comes from it. We're going to be on these meetings, and it'll be interesting, and we'll kind of keep everybody abreast of how that whole thing goes. The Chevy Equinox EV, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, folks everywhere, is going to help you get the distance that you're looking for within available EPA estimated 319 miles of range. Trent Ryan, later on in this very show, discusses at length how he's trying to find more distance. You might just need a Chevy Equinox EV, Trent.
That might be the way to do it. I'm looking for more distance. I need it. I have to have it. And the best place to go is Chevrolet. 319 yards on a single charge. Miles on a single charge.
Let's get you to 319 yards, man.
If we can get me to 319 yards, we're going to be doing breaking par here pretty soon.
Kidding me? Be breaking 50. You'll be doing episodes of Bryson DeChambeau out there. No
smooth
time.
100-yard increase.
So true. Fuck.
Dude, I saw David Puig from the LIV Golf, the Spanish fella who plays a lot with John Rahm. He was talking about it was like Golf Digest recently or something. He picked up like 60 yards in like a couple of months, just making some tweaks to his swing. He was like, I almost don't even know. But point is, distance matters, especially in the EV game. We're talking 319 miles of range on a full charge. The actual range may vary based on several factors. 17.7-inch diagonal standard touchscreen display. Think about how big that is, how nice that is, that technology inside this bad boy. The Equinox EV accommodates with comfortable seating for up to 5 people. Equinox EV offers roomy, no compromises interior with ample cargo room and convenient storage solutions. Head over to Chevy.com/Equinox EV. Check out product info, lease offers, and amazing deals. That is Chevy.com/Equinox EV. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. Frankie, we should probably get this out of the way on the, latest update with your baseball
Islanders
franchise.
are back. Is that what we were talking about? Islanders won 2 games in a row, back-to-back, 24 hours, 4 points, tied with the New York Rangers in points in the standings. It's amazing how the parity in hockey at this point, you can be the last team in the league. Riggs does this very well with the St. Louis Blues winning the Stanley Cup. You can be the last team in the league, win 2 games, and then be 16th in the league. It's bizarre. Really nice to see the Islanders right in the thick of it now, getting healthy. Matt Barzal skating again, starting to get healthy. Duclair skating again, Pellicat skating again, and we're about to get healthy. Let's get to the real nuts and bolts of it. Juan Soto's a douchebag. I really don't know what else to say. Listen, we traded for him. He obviously wanted to go to the New York Mets, and he proved that with the Yankees offered him the same amount of money, $760 million over 16 years.
Not the exact same.
Well, come on, guys. He did not go to the Mets for $5 million extra dollars.
We may never know.
Well, that's like you're not making the point that you're making. It's like I'm making the point that he just wanted to go to the Mets, which is actually worse for the Yankees, right? Like the Yankees did offer him the money. So like you saying the extra like that, the worst part is that we did offer the same amount of money and he went. If it would have been a money issue and Hal Steinbrenner is like, listen, my net worth, here's the thing that we have to actually realize. Steve Cohen is worth $22 billion. Hal Steinbrenner is worth $1.2 billion. Hal Steinbrenner offered Juan Soto half of his net worth, which is fucking horrifying if you're Hal Steinbrenner. You know what I mean? That is the biggest investment of his life, being George Steinbrenner's son, owning the New York Yankees, going through dark times of like not selling tickets maybe a couple years ago, and you don't know where you're going to go. You got to go out and get Aaron Judge. You go and get trade for Giancarlo Stanton. He's got that huge contract for however many years he signed with the Marlins. Like you are in the thick of it now. You also want to keep up with the Red Sox of the world because they're spending money and they're winning World Series, and that never was an issue for the Yankees up until 2004. You've got the Dodgers now getting every single player from Japan and all the biggest free agents, and they're just stockpiling teams. And you're Hal Steinbrenner, and you're like, I'm a billionaire. I have a ton of money. I have one of the most valuable franchises in all sports. But then I got this guy across the street in Queens that's worth 22 of me. He could buy Hal Steinbrenner 22 times. So $760 million. I said this to my buddies. I honestly think there was like Steve Cohen could have kept going to 1.5 billion. Like again, hit me. Like just at a blackjack table, like hit it again. I don't give a fuck. Like it doesn't matter. He doesn't give a fuck. He said this from day one. He's like, I'm going to come in.
And it's not like there's no return, right? So even if he goes from 760 over 15 years to 1 billion over 16
doesn't
years,
matter. It's
that
all,
money's not all just going out of his pocket. Like there's a reason you pay that amount. There's going to be some
Right.
return
100%.
that's going to most likely be at least close to even or something. So if he's got that money, it means nothing negligible over 15 years for him at that point.
And obviously Juan Soto just wanted to go there. He likes the culture better. He wants to play with Lindor and like the Oh My God song. And he sees that he's just going to fit better with them. That's devastating for the New York Yankees. That's never been the case. New York Yankees have always been the pinnacle of sports. You want to wear the pinstripes. He clearly did not see that. Listen, we traded for him. We went to the World Series. I mean, he experienced it, man. He had a World Series in the Bronx experience. He was on a team that did the thing. Like, you come here and you win. That's what the Yankees are about. 41 pennants, 27 World Series. We always win the division. This is what we do. You're a Yankee. Do you like it or do you not? And he's like, I don't like it. I want to go to the generational losers, the Mets. That's what he decided. So now the tides have shifted. And I'm between a rock and a hard place. The New York Mets fan base, and I've said this many times, are my people. Like, they are New York Islanders, sicko, weirdo, like psychotic people. They go to the Coliseum. They rip the seats out of the Coliseum in the last game. They go to Mets games. They got popcorn all over their face. They're aliens, right? That's what the Islander fans are. Rangers fans are buttoned up, wearing the collared shirts, showing up from their financial district. They're there with their bosses. They're trying to impress people. They're probably spiking drinks like this. That's what Rangers fans are. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like shady, weird New York City people. And I don't like anything about them. Yankee fans, they have that mix. They also have like the crazy Bronx people. They're showing up. They're wearing, the Goombas and all the Italian brethren. I love those people. My point is, like, things are shifting a little bit in New York. You know what I mean? Like, I've always made the argument, the Islanders, you always act like we're little brother. It's like we've won the same amount as the Rangers. We're right there. We're able to go out and compete. We're making the playoffs just as much as you. The Mets are starting to say that now. That same fan base is starting to feel that on the baseball side now. You know, you got Lindor. You're making it to NLCSs. You've got all these guys wanting to go, and now you've got the best player in a long time, literally choosing same amount of money because the Yankees offer an extra year. 16 years. Not good. Yeah, it's not good. There's no way of. Then the Yankees have a horrible lineup now. I mean, it's like, you look at how much money we spent. You've got Judge at like 40 million, Stanton at 30 million, and then after that, it's like Rodon, DJ LeMahieu. You got Anthony Volpe making like 760 grand. The team is not great right now. Soto's that much of a difference maker. He really is. He bats 280. He hits 30 to 40 home runs. He's the clutchest fucking hitter in the league. It is what it is, man. It fucking is what it is. The worst, I texted my dad last night when it broke because I knew he didn't see it because it broke on Twitter first. And I wrote, Christmas is ruined. He wrote, what happened? And I said, Soto to the Mets. And he just wrote, fuck. Because he knows. My Uncle Bobby's going to be coming to my house on Christmas Eve. And you got to deal with Uncle Bobby and Cousin Robert, those fucking Met fans, like, who have just been scratching and clawing at us. And we've always been able to say, you've got nothing. We're the Yankees. You've got nothing. You're nobodies. And now it's like they're walking in. They're going to kick my door down singing the Oh My God song. I just can't even. I texted him, like, don't even come. Like, don't come to Christmas. Like, it's ruined. I don't want to see those smiles.
To your point about Mets fans, you had Chris Clemmer and Meek Phil running through the streets, like,
of New Orleans.
Those are the guys that are now they feel like they're in the driver's seat. Now, who knows? 15 years, and you certainly won as a Mets fan. You won the free agency. You got the big fish. You signed him. You stole him from the Yankees. It's a huge deal. Now, anything could happen in the next 15 years. Everybody knows that. Like, are they going to win a World Series? Who knows? But in this particular moment, the Mets fans have it over the Yankees fans. And that has to hurt because he just chose. He just chose that it was like, oh, I'd rather go over there. Chose. That's if you're a Yankees fan and you're the organization, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, what are we doing wrong that we offered a generational player the exact same amount and he chose to go across the street? And that's
an indictment on the whole franchise. It's an indictment.
It really is.
On Aaron Judge as a captain. Not reaching out. He said he did not talk to Juan Soto. He said it's his decision.
How is that possible?
There's just a weird situation going on in this locker room. Like, they're not a team, and they're clearly proving it. And And the other side of this is like they just made the World Series. So it's like they were obviously vibing and they were like moving forward and they had a lot of momentum. You don't make it to the World Series with a broken locker room. At some point, especially the things the Yankees went through, there was a lot of injuries and there was a lot of changes in the lineup. Like you got to really get together and like grind it out. They went on a huge losing streak at one point. They were under 500 for like a good portion of the season after they got hot in the beginning. Like you got to really get together. And they did have an easy route to the World Series. A lot of the teams that they usually have trouble with ended up losing. Whatever. It's an indictment on Cashman. Clearly, Juan Soto saw that the Mets are going to spend more money and try and build a winner more than the New York Yankees because he's looking at the whole thing. He wants to win World Series, this guy. He's going to get paid either way. That's the thing. He's getting paid either way. He had multiple options. I'm sure the Red Sox were up there too around $700 million. He had multiple options. And he's like, where do I have the best chance to win? And he went to Queens. So, it's...
Yeah. It was a devastating signing for me as well because, and I tweeted this, I realized I'm going to be 50 when the contract is over.
Oh my God. Dude, my unborn child is going to be 15 years old.
I had a lot of people, I had somebody mention that in my mentions. I had, people just tweeting to me and quote tweeting, just really, you're doing simple math, but it hits you like a ton of bricks where people are like, I'm going to be 46. I'm going to be 53. It's the first sports contract in my life that I can remember where when I did the math, I got legitimately sad about how old I was going to be when it's over. I'm going to be 50. You can make the argument that from now to when that contract ends, my life is going to change more than it's ever changed in any other period in my life. And that is fucking terrifying. Frankie's kid's going to be able to drive.
Frankie will almost be like looking at colleges with this kid when this is over.
And this is a present deal this is a current deal we're talking about. So that's why it's very real. Yes, it's 15 years, but this is a current, like in our time now, deal that we're discussing. And then throughout that, yes, my future kid will be, God willing, will be driving by that point.
He's currently on that deal. He's in the middle of that deal.
Correct.
That'll be the same deal. It's like when you get on a highway in like Missouri and that highway goes all the way to the Pacific Ocean in California. It's like you're on the same
we're on the road
piece
now
of concrete the whole way out there.
I'm not kidding. That really fucked with me last night. I had a lot of trouble coming to terms with that. So congrats to Juan Soto.
It's a huge deal. The last time a New York team signed a player for 15 years was Rick DiPietro in the New York Islanders. They drafted him first overall.
Great.
They signed him for 15 years, and then he played like 150 games. They're still paying him. He's on like the Allen and Humpty show or something on ESPN. He's on the radio now. So
what did he take? He ended up like taking something where it stretched it out more or something so they wouldn't have to pay him.
It was just a 15-year deal. No, well, because he couldn't play anymore. He was hurt. They bought him out. So yeah, they paid him for like the next 30 years. He's going to get paid. He's going to be getting paid forever.
Incredible. How old is Rick DiPietro right now? He's 40.
I'm going to say Rick DiPietro's 40. Yeah, I was going to say around 40.
Look at that.
I think his payments are going to start stopping soon, I think.
That's nice.
They signed him in 2006. So, it's crazy. Juan Soto to the Mets, man. It's not good. It's the Mets are just. I'm happy he didn't go to the Red Sox. If it was anyone, having to face him in the division would have been tough for the next 15 years. Now he has to go just battle against Ohtani and the Dodgers, which will be good for baseball. The National League is getting hot, and obviously the Dodgers are a fucking problem out there, and they're not stop spending. They're linked to this new Japanese pitcher that's coming over that just got posted from the Japanese team. So, yeah, I mean, the Mets have a lot to deal with the Dodgers, and the AL's kind of wide open now. So what do the Yankees pivot and do? I have no idea. I have no idea what the Yankees do. They go out and get Alex Bregman and Teoscar Hernandez. I don't know. Just like plugging pieces together. It's going to be tough in the Bronx.
It could be exhausting anywhere in life, anywhere, following countless rules, regulations, especially in the world of golf. As we know, it's kind of what this podcast was founded upon, was the fact that we don't necessarily have to adhere to all these things. It can be fun and enjoyable out there. That's what truly, with the new Unruly, that's what they're doing. That's why when it comes time for a drink, we reach for one that breaks all the rules, the truly Unruly with 8% ABV, still light and refreshing. They've got 4 delicious flavors: tropical twist, berry blast, citrus crush, and strawberry smash. These things were delivering a hell of a time for everybody at the Barstool Classic Championship just a couple weeks ago.
They're great. They're tasty. They really get you going. Yeah, that kind of packs a punch, those unrulies. You know, you're used to just kind of sipping and just it's a long day and you're having multiple and you're racking up the cans in the back of the cart. At the end of the day, like you have a couple of unrulies and whoa, it's gonna hit you like a ton of bricks. And it's a
You're
good
buzzing.
feeling though, because they taste good, you're buzzing, you're feeling good. It doesn't take much to get you going, and they taste phenomenal. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's really gonna pack a punch, it's definitely the truly unrulies. I think what are they, 8%?
8%, baby.
Yeah, that's serious.
Oh yeah.
They come in 4 bold, party-ready flavors, and they still perfectly pair with any day on the course. So go check them out. Go find out where you can get these things near you at trulyhardseltzer.com/locations. That is trulyhardseltzer.com/locations. Truly Unruly, Truly Hard Seltzer Beverage Company, Boston, Massachusetts. Please drink responsibly. Speaking of, greatness and great players, Scottie Scheffler. We got to do another little bit about Scottie Scheffler, but Scottie locked up his 9th win worldwide in just 21 starts in 2024. He also did it with just a brand new putter grip, so he was as dominant as he's been. Took a little break off, came out to the Hero, and just had decided, I'm going to try something different. Claw grip, lit it up. I believe he shot 63 in the final round, won by 6 shots. The $1 million check that he got for winning the Hero World Challenge was the smallest winning check that he got throughout his 9 wins, with the one exception of the Olympics, in which case he made $37,500. In the last 40 years, Scottie Scheffler's winning rate, which is about 43%, is third behind 2 different Tiger Woodses, which was in 2006. Tiger won 9 times in 19 starts. And in 2002, Tiger won 10 times in 22 starts. Just to give a quick recap of the major victories that he had, he won 9 out of 21 times. He won the Masters, the Olympic gold medal, the Players' Championship, the FedEx Cup. He was 3-2-0 in a winning President's Cup team. He also won the Arnold Palmer Invitational, the Memorial, which obviously Jack, Arnie, shout out to those guys. He won Tiger's event as well, so the big 3. He won the RBC Heritage. He won the Travelers Championship, a bunch of elevated events in there. He won more money in one season than anybody's ever come close to. That's going to be his final start of the year. What a wrap for Scottie Scheffler.
As good of a year as you can have. I'm so proud of him. It's just so proud of this guy. Just a humble man. Driving the same car that I saw now. He's getting that Chevy. He's putting that Chevy up for auction. You saw that, Jim Nance?
I saw there's an auction going on. That's nice.
There's an auction. Yep, there's an auction for his car. It's starting at $50,000. It'll get all the way up to whoever. And he signed the dashboard. My first vehicle, Scottie Scheffler. Pretty cool little collector's item. The guy drove it to his first PGA Tour event, to college. He's had it throughout, his first everything essentially. So that's just the kind of guy he is. Switching his putter grip is absurd. And then he also wasn't in the lead the first day. So he was 3 or 4 strokes back. And you're like, well, why'd this guy switch his putting grip? I know he was under par, but it's he wasn't dominant in the first round. And then all of a sudden the birdies started to just flow in. He didn't miss a putt within, I think, 10 feet in the entire final round. He was lights out. I think he had 18 putts or something like that. He's just outrageous. He's an outrageous golfer. We saw it firsthand, which those videos are going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. He's an outrageous person on the golf course. He's just not to be believed in how good he is with the golf club in his hand. And he's just on a generational tear. The guy won't stop. You think he's going to stop? He's not going to stop. He ended his year with a win. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, we saw him a couple weeks ago. I would say not surprised by what we saw in the Bahamas. He's got it right now. And the way you listed those and the way I've been thinking about it and how dominant he was this year, I know he was the number 1 story in golf, but I think it should be a bigger deal. I think it needs to be a bigger deal that he won 9 times this last year. I feel like when Tiger was having those years, it was the biggest sports story in the world. Now, they're different personalities. Tiger at that time was fuck you, I'm Tiger Woods, and I'm winning all these golf tournaments. Scottie is, I had a baby, I'm a loving father. He did get arrested at some point during the year, but I feel like it needs to be a way bigger deal. And maybe it's just because Scottie's sort of, oh, shucks, I won 9 tournaments in 1 year, and we're just going to keep it moving. But I don't see this run coming to a close anytime soon. I think he's going to have maybe not as dominant as a 2025, but he's certainly going to win a handful of tournaments, I would say.
And it really makes me think, Frankie mentioned it earlier with hockey, with baseball, with all professional sports, and golf has been talked about this a lot over the last 5 or 10 years too, where the parity seems to be deeper and deeper now. And the talk a lot, even when Tiger would come back, would be like, well, everybody's so good now that there's no way even Tiger could go on a run, even close to what he had done before, because God bless, if you go out there and you play really, really well, there are just 20, 30, 40 guys that are so unbelievably close in margins to the top guy that if they just get a little bit hot with the putter or with their mid-iron game that week, no matter who you are, you're not going to be able to win as frequently, as dominantly, as often as guys could win in the past with the equipment, with all the fitness, with all the nutrition, with all the information about science, how much guys apply themselves. Now they're not out there as often, or even almost none of them, with fucking beer guts and boozing on the road and showing up and just being like, who's got the raw talent to win? It's such a science now that it makes everybody closer together. So many guys are committed from a young age. They got videos of their swings. They got swing coaches. They got everything. Yet Scottie is as dominant as Tiger was in 02, 06, those 2 seasons, right freaking there when it comes to that. And a lot of the times, which I love, looking back at the Players' Championship and the Olympic gold medal. Yes, his game is so good that he gets himself in contention. But this tournament where he won by like 6 with a blitzing final round, that doesn't happen that often. A lot of times what really separated him was getting to the back nine in these huge events and then just being able to handle the moment better than other guys. And that final stretch at the Players' Championship where it came down to Wyndham Clark's putt lipping out, and there was Xander was right there, and Wyndham was right there, and Scottie was right there, and him persevering and being the guy and doing that over and over again throughout the year. It's like, not only does he have that insane ball striking that statistically is about as good as we've ever seen, not only is he proven to be clutch, improved the hell out of his putting, shout out to the Spider Tour X that he's been using, and now he's got the claw and all that, but he's proven to be insanely clutch when it matters, and that's how you go from maybe has a great year and wins 4 or 5 times to 9 worldwide wins, some huge, huge, huge events, including the Masters, the Players, the gold medal, won the FedEx Cup as the best player throughout the year. So just outrageous, and doing it all with a pretty, what appears to be a pretty perfect life. Him and Meredith just seem to be the happiest go lucky couple from the Netflix doc, where they're walking down the street discussing their iced coffee. Now they've got Bennett, their child. Everything seems to be going great. He's got his family around. We've met the Schefflers many, many times. They're just salt of the earth. So it's like, it almost should be a way, way bigger story, but he so handles it with what appears to be such ease. And I know he's told the story about like basically crying the morning before the Masters on Sunday when he won for the first time. So it's not as easy as it looks, but it appears to be pretty damn easy the way this man is going through life right now as the most dominant golfer we've seen in a decade.
Do you think history will look upon this season in a lesser light because of the split talent pool? Like no Bryson, no Rahm, some of those. I'm with you. The parity is a good point, but you also got to take into account that there's a good portion of players who are very, very good and near the top in terms of rankings who are just not on this tour. I don't know if that's how it's going to be, but I do think, I wonder in like 10 years when people are looking back on the greatest seasons of the last 10 years, will the fact that there aren't the John Rahms and the Bryson DeChambeaus, they're not on the PGA Tour, will that have an effect on how people talk about this current Scottie season?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think it'll depend a lot on what happens in the next 3 to 5 years. Like if they get everybody back under the same roof, and then Scottie has another dominant year like this, then I don't know that anybody would ever really talk about it. I think if you did go through the events where they all were in the same field together, did it appear to be as dominant? No, but I mean the Masters and the gold medal, let's say those are 2 of 5 events that everybody was kind of out there playing, and he won them, at about pretty much the same clip that he was winning against the PGA Tour players. And it wasn't, I think another tricky part is like the PGA, when he got arrested, he wasn't really in contention. The US Open, when he lost, he wasn't really in contention. And so not to say like that doesn't take away from someone from the talent pool that wasn't up against him all year, was victorious, but it didn't feel like he put his, it wasn't him putting his pretty A game up against these guys' A game, and he was like defeated. It felt like that never really happened. It's like anytime he brought his top game, he kind of won. But yeah, I think if things shake down where like this turns out to be Scottie's best year that he had, kind of by far, I think that could be a narrative going forward for sure.
Bryson winning the U.S. Open will be a big part of that because Scottie didn't play very well at the U.S. Open, and Bryson winning a tournament where they were all in the same field, I think it'll be a big sticking point for people if they're trying to make that argument where it's like, I mean, Xander won the other two. Xander's on the PGA Tour. He's up against Scottie every week. But Bryson winning the U.S. Open, you could then say if he's playing in these other events, he's probably got a pretty good chance to at least compete against the top guys on the PGA Tour.
And Bryson nearly winning the PGA, right? I mean, he was a putt away from Xander there in the last. So yeah, I think you can make that argument pretty easily. And it's not the whole field over there at LIV that's deep, but I mean, there's 6 guys maybe that you could argue could be in the top 30 on the PGA Tour money list if they were over there. I mean, you've got some serious studs from Brooks to Rahm to DJ to Cam Smith. Like, you've got guys that over the last 6-7 years have been top dogs at different times. That it definitely lessens it a little bit, but I don't know. History will look upon that. I think it depends.
It's amazing. We've talked so much about over the years, like how golf is so hard to make money because it's all on yourself and it's all incentive based. Like if you win cash, and the PGA Tour has kind of shifted its way of thinking where like now they're giving guaranteed $500,000 to everyone that has a PGA Tour card just to like put some money in guys' pockets, even if they don't win. And then just to tie it back to like what happened with Juan Soto, $765 million. I was talking with my buddies about this last night. Like, when did sports become guaranteed cash? Like, how insane is that rationale of thinking? You know what I mean? Like to actually wrap your head around the sport, just the idea of sport being guaranteed money where it's not incentive based is insane. That the common or the standard contract isn't incentive based. You know what I mean? Like, I know that it's so hard to get these guys and it's such a dog eat dog world and you need to you got to throw the house at these guys to get them to sign. But like, how did we get to this point that like you're not giving Juan Soto $1 billion, but it's all incentive based? You have to hit a certain amount. You have to have a certain batting average. You have to hit a certain amount of home runs. You got to get to the World Series. Like, there's got to be something, because this guy could just check out. A guy like Scottie Scheffler can't check out. He's got to win 9 events to be the highest paid player. He's got to fucking beat everyone around him to be the highest paid player. Juan Soto could now, I'm not rooting for, maybe I am, could be just like an absolute dud for the next 15 years. Rick DiPietro, I just talked about him, played like 100 games. They're still paying the guy. Like, there's no incentive base in sport. That's crazy to me. Just golf is the only one.
I don't know the answer, but I would imagine somewhere along the line it speaks to the power of player unions, where they have
Scott Boras, that scumbag, changed the game.
Where they have put baseball in particular. Baseball has, at least for as long as I can remember, has always been guaranteed money, which is, it's crazy, but there's got to be a reason. There has to be like some sort of stipulation, or the strength of the players' unions have gotten to a point where they're just like, you have to guarantee these contracts for us to participate in the league. Again, I don't know the history of it, but it is pretty wild. I know the NFL is a little different. Like, even if you sign X amount, you're not guaranteed to get that money. You're guaranteed to get a certain amount, but you're not going to get all of it. But baseball he's getting that $765 million regardless of what happens. There has to be a pretty specific set of circumstances to happen where he wouldn't get it. He's going to get that money. I'm with you. It's pretty crazy that you can just sign on the dotted line and no matter what happens, you are getting that money.
Yeah, there's player options in there, and like I'm sure there's different like writings in there that if they make World Series, he unlocks a certain amount of money earlier. I'm sure the contracts are way more detailed than we're saying, but essentially it's all guaranteed with a $75 million signing bonus right on top. He got $75 million wired into his account today, which is fucking insane. $75 million nice. Signing bonus.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's just like, even we're incentive based here, like us three, like to make money for like our entire lives, my future kids and everything. Like, we gotta like hit numbers and sell certain amount of things and like unlock certain bonuses and all. Like, like you gotta perform, man. You can't just. There are people in life that just sign these guaranteed contracts, and it's like, I don't know when that became a standard. The Scottie thing is so eye opening, where it's like he has to be the best by so high of a margin, by so large of a margin. Like, undoubtedly the best of his league to make the most money. And that's, dude, he's not the best player in the MLB, Juan Soto. Ohtani is, and he's making $300 million more than him.
The crazy part too,
or is that right? Yeah, I think it was right. How much did
Ohtani
sign for? I think it was like 400. Yeah.
Crazy part too is Steve Cohen and the Mets are signing that deal pretty much knowing that the last 5 years of it, he's gonna not be as good as he is right now. Like, you have to, the players are in such a position of power where you should probably sign Juan Soto to a 10-year deal. Because Juan Soto's 25 years old. You sign him to a 10-year deal, and all right, you're up at 35, and that's sort of when, for baseball players, it starts to slide. Certainly when you get in your late 30s. But Juan Soto is in such a position, and there's such a battle to sign him, that you sign him to a 15-year deal knowing that those last 3 to 5 years are just going to be shit. It's going to be like Albert Pujols. Like, at the end of his deal with the Angels, it was like, boy, this is sort of a carcass that we've got on the payroll. But you have to do that to even be in the running to sign him. If you offered Juan Soto 10 years, whatever, $550 million, he's not even looking at that deal. It's pretty crazy.
A lot of it too, I mean, you can really look at what LIV has tried to do, right? LIV Golf has essentially kind of said, okay, we've got this backing. We're going to do something completely new and different in the world of golf, but we have to be able to leverage the top stars. What can we do? Well, every other sports league has created franchises that are insanely valuable, that have loyal fans, that have gone with this closer to guaranteed model. That if golf doesn't seem to have that yet, golf is getting big, it's getting popular since COVID, and all the recreational parts of golf, everything's up. That, you know, they essentially are trying to do that. And I think that it's you know, the more I think about it, it's like, why is Scottie Scheffler being punished essentially for everyone else has made baseball and the NFL more valuable, so that if you're one of the best players in those, you're just guaranteed to make so much more money than Scottie Scheffler, who's the best player in golf? Is that like, is it fair that he, in this comparison, is like punished by the fact that like all the people that just run the mechanism that creates the value of the league haven't done as good of a job over the last 20 years? So him being the best in golf doesn't deliver even close to the amount of returns that someone being the best at baseball or the best in football gets. And I do think a lot of it is franchise based. And it's like, if we're talking about this and Juan Soto's contract, like, oh my God, that's insane that it's not incentive based and they're just going to give him this amount. Well, all the franchises have only skyrocketed in value, right? Like the Mets, I feel like 15 or 20 years ago were worth less than $1 billion. And now that franchise is worth what, $3 or $4 billion. So it's not like it's not paying off for everybody. It's not like these owners, I don't feel like, are shelling out all this money, guaranteed contracts, and then they're going broke and they're bankrupt in like 3 or 5 years. It's like, it's clearly working out for everybody. It seems like totally. The TV deals, the ticket sales, the jersey sales, the media rights, all of it seem to be delivering, where the NFL and the MLB franchises are all like skyrocketing in value. People still want to be buying them. The billionaires are, whenever they get the opportunity, trying to buy up these franchises. They're selling off pieces of them in certain situations and selling them off at an incredibly high rate. So it's like, even if that does seem absolutely psychotic, which it does, it seems to be kind of good for everybody involved. Like, I feel like people aren't getting screwed.
No, and does it come back to that the Mets are able to monetize Juan Soto? They're going to sell so many jerseys. They're going to sell so many tickets. They're going to sell so many season tickets, where golf has none of that. It's a roving tour every year. They're not selling Scottie Scheffler jerseys. Certainly him being really, really good is beneficial for the sport because it grabs headlines and more people pay attention. But what is the monetary value of that? I think it's easier to calculate when you're a baseball team, when you're a football team, when you're a basketball team. It's like, you sign a guy like Juan Soto, you got to give him almost $1 billion. But those jersey sales and those, getting what you get from people coming for concessions and just all of that, being able to actually put a value on it, I think is probably at least part of the reason. Golf is alien in that regard. There aren't home stadiums. There aren't home teams, like you're saying. It's a franchise-based thing where you just know you're going to make at least some money back, where the PGA Tour looks at Scottie Scheffler, they're paying him whatever when he wins these tournaments, but what are they actually seeing from that?
Yeah, it's outrageous. The player unions is 100% the reason. There was a guy that I think he had passed away recently, and I remember reading a story. He was like the godfather of the player union, and like he's the first guy that started these contract negotiations, like making guys hold out and like start to get guaranteed cash. I got to look that up. There's a great story about like how it all kind of started. And I do want to correct what I said. Shohei Ohtani made $700 million, but I think the tweet that I saw was like over the next 5 years, Steve Cohen has to pay $300 million more than Ohtani's getting because he deferred all of his money.
That's right.
To 2034, Ohtani's getting 97% of his cash. So out of $700 million, Ohtani is only making $20 million, I think, from now until 2034, somehow, some way. And then $680 million of that's going to come to him in a decade from 2034 to 2042. What an amazing, I mean, that is actually the way you should, because dude, when you're in the thick of it, you're really not enjoying the money as much as you will when you're retired. You know what I mean? Like, dude, if he has $20 million and he's playing for the Dodgers, he could still live the same life as if he had $700 million. He's still like going to the park every single day, working out, not having fun, not drinking, not eating. When he's 35 and retired, 40 and retired, oh my God.
Well, a lot of it too, right? Is like he's doing it in partnership with the ownership to help them out because they know over the next 10 years the way that they can invest that $600 million or $300 million is going to make them infinitely more money and then give them a lot more cushion to pay this man out because they're going to be able to make all that money over the next 10 years. So it's like, it's I saw some people saying they should get rid of the deferred money. It's like not fair, but also if a player's willing to do that, like why wouldn't the ownership? It's the players, the ones that are not wanting that cash up front. He doesn't want $70 million up front. He wants it later, which is nuts. Right. All he's doing is playing baseball right now. He doesn't need $700 million. He's like, I play baseball and I get on a bus. That's like what I do. And then
I can't
in the mid
2030s, Japan too.
I'll have all the money.
Got billions.
Endorsements, like all that stuff.
That's the other thing. When you sign a guy like Ohtani, more than Juan Soto, like you get all the Japanese rights to that whole country's watching your games. You could sell that like you're selling it. You're selling to NBC for your game or whatever it might be, Fox for all your Dodgers games. You're selling it to the Fox equivalent in Japan also. Maybe they do that for Soto. Who knows? Maybe he's a huge star over there also, but we'll see. We'll see, man. It's crazy. And yeah, Scottie Scheffler just has to fucking do it to make the money, and he does it. Boy, does that guy do it. Every time, every week.
Life's all about convenience. You know, you really want things to just go smoothly, easily. You want less stress. Stress is going to kill you out there, man. It's going to kill you. We are talking Shipsticks. Shipsticks is going to make your experience with your golf clubs when you go on a trip. Could be a work trip. Could be going home even for Christmas. Maybe there's a couple of nice days on the forecast. Whatever it might be, you can save yourself an enormous amount of hassle by logging in and signing up for Shipsticks.
Shipsticks is the greatest addition to any travel in golf. It is a fact. If you're building out a trip for you and your buddies, you're going somewhere, and you're not adding this to your itinerary, if you're not tacking this expense on to your trip, you've got everything else covered. You've got your car, you've got your hotel, you've got your tee times. The fact that you wouldn't do this, I think you're a moron if you're not listening to the link and you're not putting in our code for 20% off, right? Like I did the math. I did it. It came out like $70 after our code was done. And it gets from New York to Arizona. Like, what are we talking about?
We know how great Shipsticks is, but our friend Jersey Jerry saw the light over the last week or so.
Jersey Jerry was coming down to film with John Gruden, Coach John Gruden. We did a great video with him. Jerry was in a pinch. He was at the office. He didn't know if he was going to be able to get to the airport that quick. He called Shipsticks, and with their unbelievable white glove service, like the VIP experience there, if you really want to get going and you call them up and say, I need something, I'm looking to get this thing there tomorrow, they will be so on top of it, so much so that they sent a courier to get the clubs from Jerry's house, brought him to however they get them there. I guess they just like fly them there. And then by the next morning, Jerry had his golf clubs at the golf course in Tampa Bay from Chicago. Yep. And then they got him back because he was going to more travel after. So it's just life-changing. Obviously, we have a different situation than most people. We're constantly traveling with our golf clubs. It's our job. We're always going in and out of hotels. If you're just like I said, if you're just booking a trip, or maybe you're going down, you're snowbirding, you're going back home, you're going for the holidays. Right now, you're traveling for the holidays. Go on the website, use our code. I'm telling you right now, this is the time to do it. 20% off. It's like, you're going to be so blown away when your clubs are at your destination. You're going to laugh. You're going to tweet at us, be like, this is life-changing. It's literally life-changing. So make sure you listen up, use the code, and let us know how your experience went.
20% off. That's our code FORE4 at shipsticks.com. Use our code for 20% off. That is FORE at shipsticks.com. Do you think Meredith Scheffler is just getting really bored of walking out there with the kid and just being like the same celebratory, like, oh, here we go again. Obviously we won. Like, she even watching the leaderboard, is she just like, yeah, like at 4 p.m. on Sundays, I parade Bennett out there and we kind of hug daddy and with cameras around, and then we go back home. That's just sort of her weekend plan.
I saw something that was like, Bennett is 5 months old or 7 months old, and the kid's seen 7 wins. It's like, fuck. Dad's on a run. Dad's on fire right now.
He's on a run.
Thing, like, they're in the middle of such an exciting time. It's probably so hard to, and I've said this to people on the show. I've said it to Scottie before he played the Masters and won for the first time. Like, he's doing it right now. He's currently on a historic run that people will talk about in golf forever. Like, this era of Scottie Scheffler that he's currently starting, hopefully he can continue it. He's in the middle of it. So yeah, when Meredith is like getting trotted out there with Bennett and they're holding him, like, it's got to feel surreal. It's like every week they're just like taking photos, and like, these are photos that are just cemented in history. This guy's having a historic season, and it's like, are we gonna keep doing this? Am I gonna keep winning or resist the run? Like, you're in the middle of it right now. That's got to be so weird and exciting. That, I mean, it happens in our lives where it's like when big moments come and go, like, they're gone already. Like, you film with Tiger Woods, it's like at the second he drives away on that fairway, that moment has already happened. And it's like, all right, yeah, that was the biggest moment in our career. It's gone now. Like, yeah, it'll come out and we'll get to fucking experience it, and you'll get to put it on social media and all that, and that'll be another big push. But like, that moment, so when Scottie Scheffler's winning these events, he's like, I just want another event. Like, that's like, I just did it. Like, it's like, I just made that putt. That's the 9th win of my season. This is fucking crazy what's happening right now.
He might be better at it than you think, though, because he'll sometimes give an answer in a press conference, and I can't remember his exact quote, but it was during the Masters either last year or a couple years ago, where they'll ask him about legacy or something like, what do you think all this means to your legacy? And I'm paraphrasing, but he'll say, none of it really matters. I'm doing it. I'm living in the moment. And I don't really care about all the legacy stuff and what it means for what people are going to talk about me in 50 years. I actually think he's better at it than most people. I got to pull up that quote because it was something really interesting, something that most people don't say in a press conference. Most people say, oh yeah, I do think about that. And, my kids and my kids' kids, my grandkids are going to see all this. And it's going to be so great. He almost has the mindset where he thinks once it's gone, it has no value to me anymore. And that he's very interesting in that regard.
Yeah. No, he is.
He said to us in our video, I don't want to give too much away because the video is probably coming out in a couple of weeks, but it's like, he said the same thing. He said the same thing to us. I asked him, I'm like, this is crazy what you're doing. And I asked him about his phone, and like, I was like, why did you change your numbers? And he kind of explains his way of life. Yeah, he's a unique cat in that sense.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's also doing this, credit for him. He's also doing this at the best time to do this financially in the history of golf. I know we talked about how it's not guaranteed and all that, but we've gone back and looked at like in the late 1990s when like Tiger Woods was leading the money list. It was for like, I'm going to look it up right now. 1999, Tiger Woods was number 1 on the PGA Tour money list, and it was like $6 million. And this young man, Scottie Scheffler, with all the different bonuses and everything, with the, there was the FedEx Cup, there was the winner. It's like $60 or $70 million that he's clearing, and like the earnings that he's going to get on tour. So he's doing it at the best time to do it in history, which is fantastic for him. We're looking at, look at the money that some of the guys on LIV are making that you've never even heard of, and they're making tens of millions of dollars a year. All right. So he's doing it at the best time, and he's handling it incredibly well. And something Trent said earlier too is something that I can't really get out of my mind, and that I don't see this slowing down. It's not like the year in 2015 that Spieth had, where he made an ungodly amount of putts from like the 15 to 30 foot range that no one's ever made before, and had like an insane year ball striking wise that he's not able to get back to. It's like Scottie Scheffler is kind of just, of course, he's automatically going to be this close to the leaderboard because he hits the ball so perfectly. We saw it in close, in person a couple weeks ago. I just don't see him possibly stumbling down leaderboards. I don't know. How is that going to happen? It's like, it can't happen.
Listen to this quote from Scottie Scheffler at the Olympics. He said, "I don't focus much on legacy. I don't look too far into the future. Ultimately, we'll be forgotten." I mean, it's true.
Wow.
That's
a guy that knows the sun's going to explode one day.
It's really interesting because he, like I said, most guys do not, at least in the media, they don't say that, but he's literally, these people, these media people are piling praise on him. They're saying, dude, you're on this incredible run. You're about to win a gold medal. You won the Masters. You won X amount of tournaments. And his response to that is, we'll be forgotten. Pretty crazy.
It's a good response. God,
I like
Scottie.
it.
What a guy.
He's the best. It is inevitable that the sun will explode. You know what I mean? It is inevitable. It will.
I know.
Big, like, Elon and Bezos, right? They're sort of like, in order for humanity to exist, we got to get off this planet, man.
Oh, it's factual. Regardless of what you believe in, at some point, it's a factual statement that stars do they do die. Like balls of exploding gas do burn out. At some point, it's factual that it will explode. So you got to figure out something.
We got to get off this rock, dude. We got to get off
this is the beginning of trying to get off this rock, and maybe it doesn't. I mean, we're talking hundreds of millions of years, hopefully, but like, who knows?
My question is, what's the blast radius of the sun?
I think it expands so much that it consumes everything around it.
Yeah, like we're gonna have to get to another galaxy or something.
It's everything. Like, and then like the gravity of everything, and just like the distance in which each planet is from the sun. It's all getting sucked into this thing, man. It explodes.
I saw our boy, the James Webb, put out a great photo last week of a galaxy that's like 5 million light years away or something. And it was a sick photograph of this fucking galaxy. So that thing's out there just humming. There were shows, there were years that we were doing this show. We were just excited about that thing launching into outer space out there. And now it's just cruising around taking great photos. That's a great follow on X. If you're on X, go follow.
Rogan had some guy on the other day, or it was a couple weeks ago, talking about the fucking galaxy. And did you guys listen to that one? It was.
I think I did. Was it the Brian Cox? Maybe is that guy's name?
Yeah, it's Brian Cox. Yeah, Brian Cox
with an X.
That guy's a problem. Yeah, that guy's a real issue, like a real piece of shit.
He's what is he? He's an astrophysicist, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not good.
Not the actor Brian Cox.
No,
I think I can't find him now. When was it? Was it a while ago? Was it like before Trump? I guess it was a long time ago. Because
it was somewhere around there.
Yeah, Brian Cox was right before Trump. Yeah, Brian Cox, English physicist and professor of particle physics in the School of Physics and Astronomy. Yeah, he's the way he describes space, he kind of makes it sound simple but horrifying. And he talks about black holes. There's these black holes that you wouldn't even know if you passed through one, but then you just like are now on the other side where you'll never get out. Like, he's like, if we just like emerged into a black hole, his theory is that we wouldn't even really know, but like time would cease to exist because we no longer can exist in anything outside of that black hole. There is no expansion. There is no moving forward. There's no moving backward. You just exist in this black hole. So you're actually stuck there in a frozen time forever. It's fucking crazy. There's no
there in
out.
Perpetuity. Just
what are black holes, man? Bro, they're so big that you ever see like a rendering of what they think one looks like, where it's just like the galaxy is just a dot and it's this huge black hole with like a red ring around it of all the light trying to escape it. Fucking crazy, man.
I go back and forth between worrying about things like that, but then just like trying to focus on everyday life, you know? Like, sometimes you can really throw that boomerang pretty far out there, and you're just like, sun's gonna explode, and then we're gonna enter a black hole. I'm with you. Shit's super interesting, but then also I wake up and it's like my fucking back hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah.
No, you got to have a balance. I think you got to have like an exploratory mind. You have to want to explore. You have to want to. You have. I think the urge of humanity should want more, instead of just getting a baguette and fixing our back pain. You know what I mean? Like, we should want more. And I don't think you should pin it on one guy to always do it. I think we should all have that urge to want to explore and learn, while also like focusing on the things that actually matter.
I wouldn't even say it's always the negative small things. It's like I love getting a cup of coffee. You know,
Of course.
like
You
I
have
don't want
to.
to like, you know, you can worry about black holes and worry about, you know, the sun exploding and all of us just getting ripped to pieces. But then you just got to be like, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. I'm going to sit out in the sunlight, and I don't know what else I'm going to do.
Yeah, and I think that, but I think really where that comes from, Trent, is enjoying the entire process of going and getting a cup of coffee. Because I'm similar with you, like saying hi to the baristas in the morning and then being like, oh, you want the usual? And you give a little smile. You got first human interaction of the day. It's only 6:30, 7:30, 8 in the morning, whatever it is. That walk down there, you're reflecting, right? Like I'm trying not to look at my phone much. You are walking through the first kind of rays of sunlight that hit you through the day. That's giving you a little vitamin D. You're starting to wake up a little bit. You're thinking about how you're going to attack this week or the podcast outline or what meeting you got next week. I got to call my mom. Like you're kind of reflecting a little bit instead of just sitting there like a slug combing through your phone, hungover what it was the day before. It's like that whole thing is part of that getting a coffee in the morning. And I agree with you. It kind of cleanses your mind. It kind of gets you geared up for whatever you're going to face that day, the next couple of days. Maybe you start thinking about next week. Okay, I got to do some Christmas shit. I got to go. So I do think like enjoying everything that comes with getting a cup of coffee is important because you can get fucking bogged down, man, by all the, you watch the wrong thing, you listen to this Brian Cox, you start thinking about war going on in the minute, you're like, oh God. Oh, shit.
Well, they say,
like, no, dude, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee.
Astronauts say that if everyone in the world had a chance to have the same view as them when they go out into space, that the world would just be a way better place because you realize how cool it is and how lucky we are that like in this vast, you know, vacuum of space, we somehow have everything to work. And you can talk spiritual or whatever you want to get to the point that we are actually able to do what we're able to do. It's insane when you look at these other planets and what they are, like the environments that they are. The fact that we get to go and walk and get a cup of coffee and like our faces aren't getting ripped off by gravity and like and it's not negative 500 degrees and it's just like outrageous. Like
think about how ridiculous golf is. Think about how ridiculous the fact that we get to play
wedges off different types of grass. Like, yeah, no, it's crazy. So
we ride around in a little buggy with fucking 14 perfectly crafted golf clubs from TaylorMade Golf and fresh balls.
It's outrageous.
They laid this ideal grass that they work on and that they study and they hire entire turf crews.
Our environment's so perfect. We can like curate it so that we can hit good chips as opposed to like Blady chips.
And they like specifically put this perfect turf in the most beautiful landscapes that they could possibly find. And then they get these artistic creators to build 18 gigantic stadiums on each one. And then we go out there in a golf cart. We're like, yeah, you want to play for $5? Let's have a good time out here. Maybe have a couple cocktails, a couple Trulies. Ooh. It's a preposterous thing that we get to do. It's preposterous.
Yeah.
The consistency of it is nice.
Right now. I'm in the thick of it right now with the baby stuff where it's like where I'm having a child and I'm watching my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. They have Jack, and then my sister-in-law, they have Blake. I just took Blake to his first Islander game the other day. And exactly what you were saying, where it's like sometimes you get caught in like the scrolling and all this stuff and like your own shit. And like you just look up, you grab the coffee and you go. When you were raised, and I don't know this yet because I'm not there, and I'm not going to make this whole entire podcast about raising a child when I do have a child. I'm sure it will just bleed in, but it's like
you probably can.
Watching me bring Blake to the Islander game, like you didn't even, you got to like experience things so much more through him experiencing the first game. All the little things of like walking through the hallway, look at that, like watching him just kind of like look around and watch like the Zamboni go around, the lights, like you actually understand what life is, and like you're just like, and then when you're in the position to get that person through life, I can't even imagine what that feeling is like. You know what I mean? Because like we are just, everything's so repetitive for us at this point. I've been doing this thing for 31 years, man. It's the same shit. I get on the couch, I fucking play video games, I watch the Islanders on Tuesday night. Like it's just like, and then it's like, yo, we get to fucking do this again and like show this new person all the things that actually are good in life, not the fucking black holes and everything. Like just get them excited. We give him an advent calendar and he gets all excited about the piece of like the little gift that'll come out of the box. I'm like, I want that fucking pure joy. I don't have that pure joy anymore. I don't have, you know what? The only last time I had pure joy was Wicked. I went and saw Wicked. I'm going to give a round of applause. Dude, I talked shit about them in like their interviews, which I still stand by. Crazy people like in their interviews, crying and shit. Listen, those performances from Ariana Grande and the woman that played Alphaba, what's her name?
I'm going to look it up. It's Cynthia something.
Cynthia, outrageous. Bravo. Some of the best performances I've ever seen.
Cynthia
Erivo knocked my motherfucking socks off. Like, I was clapping, I was crying. I'm a huge, like, I get moved to tears by performances. It doesn't need to be, there doesn't need to be any, like, substance. It could just be you nailing a note and me realizing that you're in a moment. Like there's parts of that movie where Cynthia's like singing and hitting these notes, and this grand camera and on this jib is like moving backwards, and they're showing her just go after it. And that part moves me, where it's like I'm putting myself in her shoes, and she's fucking hitting the note of her career and nailing it. And everyone's like, you're getting the fucking hair standing up on your neck, and you're like, whoa, we're watching witches sing about going to college. It's like, why do we even care about this? But they're fucking awesome, man. They're awesome. Like, it's the performance that gets me. It's just even, and then knowing like Ariana Grande, her dream, she had a tweet being like, my dream is to play this character one day. My dream. And she's out there nailing it. The dancing, the little moves, like she was her. It was amazing, man. I really enjoyed it. I think you got to go see it in the movie theater. I think just like watching Oppenheimer and just like watching Top Gun, like the acoustics and just like the grand scale of it is everything. They nailed it. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Really good.
I've heard it's phenomenal. I haven't seen it yet. One of my favorite snacks in the world right now for golf course, for hanging around my place, for just tossing in, even when it's actually been great for when I'm skating in the mornings now at 6 a.m. a couple days a week. And I just bring one of these one protein bars, usually the cookies and cream. That's one of my favorite ones. It's got 18 grams of protein, only 3 grams of sugar. Obviously, you're out there. My body is just in pure shock at the physical exertion that I'm somehow bringing upon it for no reason, with no warning. And the most important part to making sure you cash in on that, I'm out there, I'm actually doing it, I'm doing the damn thing, is recovery. You got to have protein in there. You got to let these muscles rebuild so that it's worth it. And I don't just wither away. One protein bar, I bring it, throw it in my car. Oh, what a great snack. They've got a couple of different flavors. They got the Reese's peanut butter. They've got the cookies and cream. They got a bunch of good stuff. It's Hershey's, and they're absolutely fantastic, gentlemen.
Yeah, they get us through. The other day, we played with John Gruden, and we wake up early. We get to the golf course. They didn't have a chance to get breakfast. You're about to play a high-intensity match with Coach John Gruden. You got to be on top of your game. I'm looking around the golf cart. I'm like, God, I need to have a snack. Like, I'm about to go embark on this journey with Coach Gruden in a match. Like, I need some energy here. And I looked in my golf bag, and I had a one protein bar, and it was life-saving. It really was. I was sitting there eating it with Jersey Jerry, and I said, I needed this so badly. It's amazing that this is something that we always have on us. It's amazing.
It's a perfect golf course snack. Throw a couple in your bag, and then you'll probably forget that they're in there. And then around the 9th or 10th hole, you're like, man, I'm hungry. Boom, there they are in your bag. So yeah, if you're a golfer in particular, you got to get these one bars, put them in your bag, and just be ready for any sort of situation out there.
They've also got one has other delicious flavors: birthday cake, maple glazed donut, blueberry cobbler. So try the new one, Reese's peanut butter, Lover's protein bar, and try the one Hershey's cookies and cream bars. Try them right now. They're great. Speaking of phenomenal, something that kind of moved me at times, I have to shout out one of my favorite people in the world, Tommy Fleetwood, rocking the Common Man Country Club hoodie in the One Family, Una Familia documentary that came out about the European Ryder Cup team for last year's Ryder Cup in Rome. I will say, after, I don't know if you guys watched this yet, but after watching it, we got some fucking work to do. It is not going to be cake next year at Bethpage. I understand home soil, the winning record, home versus away over the last like 3 decades is heavily in favor of the home team. We haven't won on foreign soil in like 30 years, but we've won a ton on home soil, which is where we'll be next year. We got Keegan Bradley, who's got his entire history with Bethpage and Long Island. And there's a lot of fire to it. And I think that the U.S. is going to be favored once again. However, watching this fucking thing, watching Luke Donald bringing his players to tears, just Ludwig in there talking about what it was like watching John Rahm and like Shane Lowry cry on like Monday of the week because of certain videos that the European Ryder Cup team had whipped up that had all of their individual loved ones making specific videos for them that they played for them, just saying how proud of them they were of them, how them representing their family on this stage for Europe was so meaningful to their family and that they were just rooting for them to give it their all out there. And Tommy Fleetwood's kid was like delivering messages for him on this video that brought Tommy to tears while he's sitting up there with our hoodie on. It really showcased me. And I know the U.S. has stuff going on as well. I know Keegan's got the whole background where he hasn't even opened that backpack. So we have all kinds of sentimental things that are involved in the U.S. team as well. But boy, oh boy, the way that they did this documentary made it very clear that that European Ryder Cup team is a fucking problem for a long time coming. They're a problem.
Yeah, it's just like in their blood to just be boys. I don't know what it is. You can't fabricate it over here. Guys are just different. The American team is different, always has been. I don't know what it is. The culture change.
What kind of, the only thing I was thinking about was, and there could be no truth to this, I'm just going to offer it and then you guys respond and we'll see if it's correct or not. What is the feeder system for young golfers like in Europe as opposed to America? Because I feel like America is the barrier to entry is high. There's a lot of money. It's a lot of country club kids. You get a certain type of person from that. What is it over in Europe? Is golf cheaper and you're just sort of playing around, and maybe if you become a professional, you're more grateful that you're there, and like it doesn't feel like you ever were going to make it to this point? Like, is the access to golf in Europe easier than it is in America?
In the UK, I think it definitely is. I think from being our time in Scotland and speaking with, like, I remember the first time that when I got to play the old course, and our caddy at the old course, who's a big fore-play fan, is like the next day invited me to come play. He's a member at a really old, cool club 10 minutes away called LIV Links, and went out there, had a bunch of scotch with them, had a great time. But like, that doesn't happen here, right? Caddies at like high-end clubs or whatnot, I feel like aren't like members somewhere else, right? Like, that's not achievable. That's just not the way that the hierarchy and the structure and the financial burdens work. It's like places where you're a member are definitely expensive in the U.S. We've talked a lot about how they're walking on eggshells and that whole culture, and we're starting to break that down a little bit for sure over the years, but that kind of exists. Whereas over there's some places like that. I think like Muirfield is like that a little bit, but for the most part, there's tons of clubs that it does just seem more achievable. Now, that's not true country by country. Like, I think in Germany and other places, a few other countries, it's like really, really hard to play golf. I think is kind of the way I understand. In Germany, you have to get like approval from some like licensee thing.
You have to be allowed handicap to even play in Germany or something.
Of course, yeah. So I think it's old, but I do believe in the UK. I think that's a great point. I think they grow up playing a ton of match play, a ton of team match play, an alternate shot. That's just more in their DNA. And so when they do get to that level, you're right. I mean, one of the things they say in the documentary, I think Shane Lowry's talking about, he's like, yeah, all of us were kind of coming together talking about how we all relatively came from nothing and now we're here in this incredible level. And I was thinking that too when he said that. I was like, what do you mean, like golfers coming from nothing? Like, I feel like our golfers, not that everybody comes from some really richy family, not everybody's Maverick McNeely, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the American dream, to make all that money and raise your kids to be professional athletes. Fucking great. But I was like, as I started thinking about it, I was like, our guys overall do probably come from a little bit more like money. I think that's probably just, it's not every guy. It's a very generalization, but it did seem like they do kind of have that in their DNA of like scrappy. It took that scrappiness, that heart, that belief that like if they don't make it in golf, they're not going to make it in anything. Like, they're just going to not be able to achieve greatness on any level unless they make this golf thing is working out. That's my one card. I got to play it right, is kind of the mantra that they seem to have across the board. That I agree with you. I don't know that our guys have that. I don't know exactly where that comes from, but it might be the fact that golf's a little bit more accessible in the UK than it is in other places.
Yeah, that was just a theory. I'd have to look into more of like Rory's full background and Shane's full background and all those guys, sort of what their come up was like, because I think there's something to that. I think that could be at least part of why it feels so different with the European team than the American team. Has to be something.
Did you guys see that? Speaking of St. Andrews, did you guys see that like that lottery just went live today to play the course in reverse. You get like it's like €750. You get to play 3 rounds of golf. You get to play the castle course. What is the castle? Is that just on the same property?
Yeah, it's like right down the street. It's the David McClay Kid course that Tom Doak in his book where he rates all of his colleagues gave that course I think a 0. I think it's the only course he ever gave like a 0 to.
He hates that course.
Hates it.
Wow. Well, you get to play that course, and then you get to play the old course in the regular route, and then you get to play it in reverse, which Tiger Woods has a quote saying, "I want to play the old course in reverse before I die."
Wow.
Which is a
I think he can
crazy
make that
Tiger Woods
happen.
quote. Yeah. I guess you tee off from 1, you go towards the 7, you go to 17 is what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
You can't just like hit a little chip shot from 1 to 18. You gotta.
Yeah, and then your 18th green, I think you tee off like on the second hole over to the 18th green is where you would finish.
Right. Yeah, it's
Wow.
really cool. So I guess like
That's
today's
sick.
the day, and it's going to be impossible to get in. But I might throw my hat in the ring here. I might just like, I don't know if it's free to enter. I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
St. Andrews reverse course. That'd be
Dude,
sick.
fucking do it. I would
Probably
love to.
April
I've actually
30th, probably right when the baby's born.
actually have heard the castle course is kind of awesome, but you know, Tom Doak shit on it. But that doesn't mean you're not going to like it. Yeah, our boy David McClay Kid. I love that guy. I imagine Tiger Woods is going to do that reversible thing with Charlie sometime, you know? Like he's going to, I imagine that'd be a nice trip for the boys.
Because that's
Get
how
on
the
up
course
there.
was originally routed, right?
It's a good question.
There was multiple variations of it. I think we learned a little bit about like the routing that they have now is not like the original one. I think it used to, yeah, I think that could be right. I think the reverse one is original or some variation of that.
Right. I mean, it's been around for so long. There had to be so many different variations.
And it says right here, before 1870, the old course was played in a clockwise direction. In 1870, old Tom Morris, a local greenskeeper and course architect, separated the 1st and 17th greens, creating the current anti-clockwise routing. 1870s all the way through World War II, which I just watched a bunch of stuff on World War II and Winston Churchill, by the way. The course was played in reverse on alternate weeks to allow the grass to recover. 1970s, the reverse routing was played for 1 month every winter, but eventually fell out of favor. Today, the course is generally played in the anti-clockwise direction, but clockwise play is permitted on 1 day each year.
So clockwise is in reverse, if you think about it.
Yeah.
18,
Yeah.
17,
Right.
16.
Comes around this
That's
way.
right.
Counterclockwise is how it is now. Right.
Wow.
Interesting. You nailed that, Frankie.
Yep.
I think you're spot on.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Golf
It's another
story.
Yeah, I don't know
W
where. I just tried to. I saw it on Instagram somewhere. I don't know where you find it. Like, I don't know if it's on like the St. Andrews of a website. I got to go try and find
Let's
that
apply
Instagram.
for that. You know,
I don't know where you find it though.
Rory's on the RNA. He's a member at the RNA. I think Rory could help us out, get us a couple tee times.
I don't know why I didn't save that Instagram. I saw it. I watched it twice. I read into it, and I just let it just scroll by. And now the way like Instagram algorithms work, I'll never find that again. I got no clue where the fuck that thing went. And by the time the show comes out, I'm gonna get a million. Hey, here it is, and it's gonna be done because today was the registration.
I know on the last show we sort of discussed rumors that Tony Finau was going to go to LIV. Shortly after we discussed that, he released a statement that he's not going to LIV. So just thought we should mention that. He basically was like,
going to live.
I'm on the PGA Tour. I plan to be on the PGA Tour going forward. So shout out to Tony Finau and clearing that up. Greg Norman confirmed that he will be out as the CEO of LIV. He said something to the effect of like, that's fine or something. I think they're keeping him, you know, on the team, but I don't know in what exact capacity. I don't think they're like booting him, which is always a weird move. I mean, just having that guy in there when he's not the CEO and there's another CEO. I don't know how that's going to go down, but Norman did confirm that. For us, golf is quite simple. It is a chance to get out and have a bunch of fun with your friends. I had an all-time Saturday this past weekend. It was about 74 degrees here in Arizona. Got a great group of guys, 6, 7, 8 guys that we kind of text. We try to get out on Saturday afternoon and play ourselves a little bit of golf. We actually played 18 holes in the morning, had ourselves a nice little lunch, and then played another 12 or 13 holes in the afternoon. And we were all feeling it. This is the day. We got guys that have kids, they've got jobs, they got to fly to Utah, they got to fly to a place. This Saturday is like the day. And I'm telling you, 10 a.m., we fired up. We went by the beverage cart, fired up our first fireball shots of the day, set the tone. We had 2 or 3 more throughout the day. And every time you have a fireball shot, that iconic cinnamon whiskey, it's an event, man. It's just an event. It's a celebration. You could celebrate anything. Celebrate the fact that you drove the golf cart from that green to the next tee box, for Christ's sake. Celebrate a birdie, whatever you want to do. Fireball makes you feel like you're celebrating because it just ups the ante and you have a fantastic time whenever you do it.
We do Fireball birdie shots a lot of the time in the videos. It's just a really good feeling. You really are celebrating an achievement of making a birdie, which is not easy to do on the golf course.
No.
And to be able to have that be, when I taste Fireball now, it reminds me of a birdie. And that's a really good place to be. And it's the holiday season. This is Fireball season, man. Like, I know for me, I'm going to be having a lot of people over the house. We've got my family coming on the Friday before Christmas. We've got Hannah's, her birthday's on Christmas Eve, so we always have her family over. And then we have our friends coming over on the 28th. My buddy from London's coming in. So we got 3 parties in 1 week. If you don't think I'm stocking the house with Fireball, it's so nice to have those little nips to toss them around. That's something I do. It's like I'm becoming known for it. I walk around the house, I got them in my hand. I look at them like, hey, boom, I throw it right at them. They're doing it. The Christmas music is flowing. It's great. And that cinnamon flavor is like, it feels like Christmas. You want that. It burns when it goes down. It feels so good. Speaking of Christmas, Trent never put a Christmas tree up or anything, a big wreath, nothing behind him. It's December 10th at this point. So, I mean, you basically missed it.
I got to put that up. I fucked that up.
Damn, that sucks.
Damn.
But shit. Fireball though. Fireball's going to
make
up for a lot. It's going to make up for a lot. So
Fireball's on the tree.
There you go. Fireball is the birdie shot of golf. It's the number 1 shot in the United States of America. If you're feeling like up in the ante on the course this weekend, make sure to grab the new Fireball Birdie Shot Club. It's literally a golf club filled with Fireball. Nips, we love Fireball. Go try some and enjoy yourself this whole holiday season.
Speaking of LIV, I posted a career best 87 in the latest breaking 85.
Congratulations.
Great playing.
Thank you. People have been very great about it. And I posted on Instagram, and in one of the comments was the LIV Golf League. They said, let's go. So they gave me a little bit of a congratulations. First time I've had any sort of interaction with them, I think, on Instagram. There were a lot of people who were down there. Wells Adams was down there. Luke Combs was down there. Good. A lot of people telling
Luke
me
Combs
way to go on my 87.
That?
What's that?
Luke Combs commented on that?
He did this morning, yeah.
What the fuck?
So I thought that was interesting. I LIV Golf. That if they want a guy on that tour who is going to go out there and post around, high 80s to low 90s. They want to drop me 30 million. I would say I'm interested. So just keep me in your thoughts if you're running the LIV Golf Instagram account. But yeah, shot an 87 out at Mesa Country Club. It was a great round of golf. The video's out now if you haven't gone and watched it. We had a really good time out there. I love that golf course. Looking back at the scorecard, it's pretty interesting. I was 1 over on the par 3s. I just love a good par 3. But what I'm dealing with right now is that I'm short off the tee. I used a 3-wood in that whole video, and that leaves me a really long way into the green. Basically, the next step for me is hitting more greens in regulation. I need to get longer off the tee because if I get to a par 3 range, which is 140 to 170, 180, I can clearly hit that ball and 2-putt and make a par on a par 3. So there's this little gap that I now need to overcome, and it's off the tee. I need like 30 more yards off the tee, and I think I'm really, really cooking. I know that's a lot, but I hit it so short off the tee, I leave myself sometimes 200 yards in. I'm not going to hit a green that way. But if I get a little longer off the tee and I have a par 3 distance, I feel really good about my chances.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the common issue, and it's something that you need to be able to break 85. You need to be longer off the tee for sure. That's obviously just not going to come by just playing more. You got to do some 30 yards is you got to do some work. You got to put some work in there.
I got to figure
you
it out.
should do the stack system. Matty Fitz, do a little stack system.
That. I mean, he's
get that
got
swing
the
speed going. You got
but like
the
he's
strength,
got the build and the strength to get
tape.
over 220. Like the 190 drives are the ones you got to get rid of. Like those are like you can't, like we used a 3-wood in this video, and we played from a little bit closer. We played from like 6,200 at Mesa or whatever it was, and you're using a 3-wood. Was it? I think it was like the whites, right?
I thought it was like 63, 64.
Was it 64? Maybe it was 64. But regardless, yeah, you're hitting your 3-wood at best like 210, 220 on like a nuke job. Most of the time, probably 190, 180, especially if people doing the math. They're like, you're hitting a 180, and now all of a sudden you have 175 in. It's like, we can't be doing that. Yeah, you have the ability to hit one 250. I mean, there's no way you can't hit a driver 250. You don't need to be going to a stack system. You just got to learn the swing better or something. I don't know what it is.
What? Bro,
I want the stacks.
What is it? I'm huge. I have the biggest legs out of this whole group. I have the biggest upper body of this whole group. Now, it's not
Just
all muscle,
out to
but
in.
it's that part of the game I just don't understand. I played this weekend. I played with a couple guys who were all smaller than me, and they just launched the ball. There's something about my swing where even with a driver, I can't hit it further than 210 yards. How is that fucking possible?
You gotta slowly understand where it's actually coming from. It's almost they talk about the slot, and there's something about just getting in there, getting all your weight, just transferring in with it, and just hitting up on the ball and really fucking firing through it, as opposed to you're so consistent. And you just look at your target, you look down, you go straight back with no leg movement, and then you just kind of come across it out to in, and it's going to get down the middle. But that's all your upper body doing it all. You're literally wiping out a ball, and that's the only thing you can do. You need that drive.
Okay.
And it just somehow comes off that back foot, and you're just fucking firing it up with a little draw.
But wouldn't you say, if you were pitched a golfer who can hit the ball 100, who can only hit the ball 190 yards off the tee, there's no fucking way he would shoot an 87 anywhere.
No.
So then what's the change from my irons to my driver? I know the swing is different, but it can't be that different that I can hit a fucking 9-iron 145 and I hit my fucking driver 190?
Dude, there's something. It's just I know Tillery was saying there's something in the legs, like activating that leg movement. I deal with this with my dad. I don't know how to fix it. I'm not a fucking teacher. So it's I look at it and I'm like, there's got to be something. My dad only hits it 175 yards off the tee. And I'm like, there's something you're not getting, because I know you could hit it further. I've watched my dad hit a 3-wood off the ground onto a green from 220. You could do it. But it's there's that wipiness of there's no power coming from the legs. I don't know how. You have huge legs. You have awesome legs. There's just something about
beautiful legs.
I don't know what it is. It's just it's that the difference between the draw and the wipey fade is everything, I think. It's that getting into that slot and drawing that picture, you would start to get a little bit more. I don't know what it is.
I'm
bro.
with you.
There's got to be something there. I think we might have a solution for you soon, actually, in terms of coaching and teaching.
I'm yelling at you, but I'm really yelling at myself because I'll hit a 6-iron 180.
Yeah.
And
I know.
It's something I got to figure out clearly.
You did hit some drives when we were down in Florida.
Yes.
With TaylorMade a couple weeks ago that were wildly different than the way that you've hit drives your entire career. They had penetrating, they were much farther, and instead of wipey across it, they maybe started a fraction left and then cut a little bit, held their line, and carried a longer way. I don't know if that was mechanics. I don't know if that's the new wand that's coming out via our friends at TaylorMade.
I mean, we'll just say at one point you drove it as far as Colin Morikawa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. From the same tee.
I did. Mm-hmm.
That was stunning. I don't know what that thing hit, but that was stunning.
And you smoked a couple. Smoked.
I got to figure it out. That new thing.
But that might be just confidence. Who knows? But no, it's not you're not confident. When we're out there on a breaking 85 and you've got nothing on the left and you can bring that thing back right. You can fade it back. You hit some really confident drives. You go after it. It's going to come back into the fairway. So you rip it. You go after it pretty hard. I don't know what it is. There's something about the ball flight, I guess. It just kind of gets crushed.
I got to figure it out. It's
what
so
do you think
frustrating.
of ball? I wonder what his swing speed is. It's probably sub 100.
No, I think it's around there, maybe low 100s when he starts hitting it. But no, because I don't, because he can hit it out there. Like we're saying, I think it would be more in your smash factor is probably where it would be lower, which it's you're just not getting enough out of what you have. And there were, like we said, there was that too. There was the 18th hole where we were filming down in Florida, and the three of the other of us, one who's won on the PGA Tour before, all hit damn good drives down there, and you were past everyone.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
So it's you can do it.
I have to figure it out because it really is that small little area of what is my approach shot going to be? Is it going to be 160 or is it going to be 190 to 200? And that's where I get fucked. Somebody on Twitter, they ran the numbers. It might even been fore-play tracker where the numbers are good in terms of fairways and all that, but the greens in regulation I hit like 3 out of 18 greens in regulation, and you're just fucked doing that.
Yeah.
To go to a range and outrageously try and hit the ball hard, like figure new shit out. Like, remember, sometimes I'll go there and I'll be like, I'm gonna try and take it all the way back, and like I like try and do the John Daly, and then like I hit moon balls. Like, just try. Maybe you'll unlock something. You'll like, or like, I don't know. We worked with Mac Boucher and he was trying to get us to sling it, and that's a pretty cool video that'll come out where it's like, just try and hit it to like first base and bring it all the way to third. Like, just fucking shooting your hands. I don't know. Just fucking get experiment, because the irons game is there. It's just not long enough. Like you're saying, it's like everything's just sort of set up for failure in terms of distance. It's all about distance. Scott Fawcett's been preaching this thing forever. As close as you can possibly get off the tee is the better golfer you'll be.
In play and as far as you can hit it is going to save so many strokes. That's just a fact. It really
honestly,
is.
a bit of a miracle I was able to shoot an 87 anywhere.
Yeah, it was a great round.
It really
Game looks good.
Chipping was good. The putting was good. A couple of chips he hit on those like hard greens were insane.
Yeah, they're so firm and new that it's like hard to judge where those are going to finish.
Yeah, I mean, I say all after just like screaming at myself for 10 minutes. My game feels really good. Certainly, as you get closer to the green, like feels incredible. I can't wait to film another Breaking 85 to see what happens. But yeah, just got to get longer off the tee, much longer off the tee.
It's true, and it's good that you're like. I love hearing this because there's a lot of comments that are like, he's there, but you also don't want the series to be like you had a miracle day and broke 85. That's not what breaking 85 is. And it's never going to be that. You got to become a better golfer, which you have been through breaking 100, through breaking 90, you're consistently around 90. Like, just shooting an 84 one day is not going to do anything for you. Like, you got to be a breaking 85 golfer, and that's going to be distance.
I'm with you. And to that, I would say I definitely am a better golfer. Like, I am
100%.
I am low 90s, high 80s, pretty much everywhere I go. Well, I played this last weekend. I played the Blues, and it's the distance thing. You get fucking crushed out there. But like, if I play the appropriate tees for the golfer that I am right now, I'm low 90s every single time. So I'm definitely improved in that regard. But we've just reached a point in my game where the next thing is you have to have more distance off the tee. Otherwise, I completely agree with you. I don't want to go out there and shoot a miracle 84 and then the rest of my life I'm a high, like low 90s golfer. I want to keep progressing, and the progression now is definitely more distance off the tee. However that has to happen, I got to figure it out. That's also part of the series where I'm just figuring out the things that I need to do. First, it was my irons were shit. Then my chipping was shit. Then I was slicing every single putt. So I'm getting those things in order, and the next thing is hitting it longer off the tee. So I have an iron in my hand that is actually manageable. That's it.
Got to find him the guy or JT. Call up Tiller. What's he doing?
I know. I
got to
go
get some
JT.
distance.
JT can help me for sure.
Just don't. You need the thing in golf that's the most talked about thing in golf right now, basically.
Right.
I need it.
That's like,
really
we just get that. You'll be cooking. I got to give a little comment towards Taylor Swift. The Eras Tour came to an end. I was a 2-time Eras Tour attendee. This bad boy did 149 shows in 18 months, over $2 billion grossed directly from the tour, between $13 and $28 billion I saw in total economic impact. They did 54 cities in 21 countries. She makes about $10 to $13 million per show. We talked a lot about Wicked and other things at the beginning, and I wouldn't say, or I don't think anybody would guess that the Taylor Swift songs in general and the lyrics are, perfectly in sync with the demographic and sort of the personality of the guys in the show. However, we recognize greatness. I've been caught many times throughout different streaks in my life of just blasting different Taylor Swift songs. I do enjoy her music. I enjoy witnessing it. I think when you do go to a show, man, the pop that she gets, I saw our dear friend Barstool Lurch and Gisner were posting about it last night. The pop that she gets when she's out there, the feeling, the excitement of just witnessing the biggest, right? Like, I think every person on some level, when they're a kid, every single person, they dream of like, oh, what would the definition of success be? And it'd be like, oh, being like rich and famous and selling out stadiums to some degree. You always think that. Somebody thinks that at some point in their life. She's done it better than anyone else in the history of the world has done it. She writes all her own songs. She's out there performing 149 shows, like I said, and just delivering night in and night out. So big shout out to Taylor Swift, who wrapped up that fucking Eras Tour. Was iconic. I went in Pittsburgh. I went in Amsterdam. She brings the energy the whole goddamn time. Everybody's all fired up, brings a lot of happiness to people. in a world that's going to get eaten up by the sun eventually. So credit to her doing all that. That's very impressive.
Yeah. Unbelievably impressive. Great show. Went to Eras Tour in MetLife. Amazing with Dave. It was great. Just a great show. She somehow snuck into my Spotify Wrapped. I don't know if my wife.
Whoa.
I mean, my wife obviously listens to Spotify with me, and she has the account. So obviously that was a huge. There's a lot of listening to Taylor Swift this year, and we definitely hammered home a lot of her album leading up to that concert. So, but yeah, no, she's incredible. Yeah, I think she was 4th in my Spotify Wrapped. Hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah.
Come on.
My Taylor Swift quote unquote fandom sort of falls in that I don't listen to a ton of her music. I know the hits for sure, and I like the hits. But I feel like I live in this demographic where a lot of people live, where she's everywhere, but it doesn't annoy me. Like you fall on one side of it where people are like, "Oh, it's too much. She's everywhere." I fall on it in the regard that Riggs is referring to, where it's like it's just you stand in awe of the accomplishment. It's you see her at the football games and people get all bent out of shape, but it's like, bro, it's the biggest pop star on planet Earth by like a million miles. She's dating one of the biggest football players on planet Earth. Like you're gonna see this person. She's gonna be around. So like. People get so like worked up about it, but you got to just look at it and say she's so influential, she's so massive, she makes great music, and just look at it as like, wow, that's happening while I'm around. It's pretty incredible.
Very incredible. I agree with that. I get that sentiment. I get kind of the chills when it comes to just consuming and really breaking down that level of greatness, of celebrity, and of being able to battle through all the bullshit to continue to deliver, right? Like how many celebrities do we see that come up handling that fame, that level of fame, that fishbowl life is damn near impossible. They succumb to drugs, alcoholism, just turning into complete crazy wackos because who wouldn't? And yet here she is. She's had her issues at times. People have their issues with her, whether they get sick of her, whether they didn't like this stance or that stance or this song that she wrote about this person. Yet overall, just has kept a pretty damn impressive work ethic, of creativity, of just delivering night in and night out for literally millions of people, billions of people around the world, and doing it as someone that still takes care of all of her staff, all of the crew, the truck drivers, people in her orbit, staying pretty true to herself, coming out, taking some bold stances on politics, whether you agree with her or not, but having like the balls to do that in a time where her whole team was always telling her like, nope, Republicans buy sneakers too. You can't get out there and get political. It's going to crush our revenue, sales, whatever. Just kind of being true to herself, writing all of her own music and delivering on the tour. So I'm with you, Trent. It's not like every single song is my favorite. I go through phases where I'm fucking jamming Taylor Swift, and then sometimes I get a little bit sick of it and I move on to something else. But overall, it's like, holy shit, what an impressive human being to be out there doing that thing. So Eras Tour wrapped up.
Incredible.
And yeah, she dominated. So.
Noah Khan also on my top 5. Did he make your top 5, Frank?
Number 2.
Oof.
He hasn't cracked the Beatles yet, so I want Beatles, Noah Khan, but he's there. He's getting there. I just can't kick the Beatles, man. I just they'll never, like, usually it's Foo Fighters and the Beatles, Green Day. Like, I just can't kick the Beatles. They're everything I love about music. Just like every album, every song, I can just get lost in every single song that they've ever made. It's so fucking good. We have so many movies coming out too for the Beatles. It's going to be so good. What's his name? Barry. I never know how to say his last name. Keegan, the guy who just broke up with Sabrina Carpenter. I think he's playing Ringo Starr, which is going to be such a good casting. And they're making 4 movies, all major motion films about each guy in the band. So awesome. Good. I can't wait.
My number 1 was the Grateful Dead. I just really, over the last year, got very, very into the Grateful Dead.
Wow.
It's been
My
great.
Uncle Bobby would love that.
Who?
My Uncle Bobby's a huge Deadhead. He goes to see just like any band associated with the Grateful Dead. He's gone to like 1,000 shows.
It just sort of grabs you and you don't even really realize it. And I posted that on my Insta story, my number 1 being them. And of course, our guy Michael Barbuti was like, let's go to the Sphere, brother. We gotta go.
Shout out to Barbuti, just got engaged. Congratulations to him and Lauren. Yeah, 2 of our favorite people at TaylorMade. Amazing, amazing people. We traveled the world with them. We traveled all of Scotland with them. And yeah, they're the best. They're the best people, super nice, very happy for them. I was pumped to see that Instagram story. But yeah, no, he's a huge Deadhead. You should go see them at the Sphere.
I want to. I voiced my concerns about the Sphere. I think I'll get dizzy and pass out and throw up everywhere. But I'm willing to give it a shot because like I said, I've gotten so into the Grateful Dead, which is so weird to say, but I want to go see him at the Sphere. I want to really badly. And the shows look amazing. Our guy Todd Martin is a big Deadhead. He posts from there.
With him.
I would love to go with him. I would love to go with Barbuti.
Todd would be a good guy to
Althea,
go with.
I like the Grateful Dead.
Keep his eye on
I can't
you.
get into like the deep tracks of the Grateful Dead. I could if I was at a concert. I can't I guess it depends on my day. Like it depends on what my activity is. I could listen to because they have those long jam band 11-minute, 12-minute songs, which I do like in some aspects. Like I could see you kind of getting lost in those.
Oh yeah,
but their top hits are fucking bangers.
I've gotten lost in those long ones. I'll just put it on like when I'm cleaning the house or doing laundry.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was kind of picturing.
We put some on at the golf course the other day. Like it's good. Just
good.
Fuck, it's really, really, really good music, and it's similar to the Beatles. And you're obviously wrapped up in the music, but the culture and what they mean, and the documentaries and the books, like you can really, go deep on that stuff, which I have been. So yeah,
Cherry Garcia is a great Ben and Jerry's,
really good.
My number one every year is always Eric Church, and that delivered again this year. Just
Eric Church,
just very predictable. I'm just a big Eric Church guy.
Yeah, he's good.
2024, it's about to be 2025. You simply have to, in this day and age, have a great set of headphones, whether they're the over-the-ear headphones, whether they're earbuds, whichever your preference is. You got to have good ones. It's just you spend too much of your life requiring them to listen to a podcast, some music, do a work call, do a podcast like we're doing right now. If you're traveling, which we travel a ton, you got to have the noise canceling features so that all the other distractions aren't messing with you while you're locked into whatever you're listening to. We're talking techniques. You can push your boundaries at work, home, on the golf course with the Techniques True Wireless Advanced Noise Canceling Headphones. They got a great app that I use. You go in there, you optimize everything, you do the test, you do the little sliding bar. Can you hear any outside noise here? Yes, just a tad bit. Okay, what about here? Get it absolutely right, nail it. I can go sit on a flight. I can't hear crying babies. I can't hear the man or woman on the PA system who's trying to tell me this or that, which I don't really care about. No offense to them. I just want to hear what's going on in my ears. The Techniques, they just make an excellent product.
I got a new pair on right now. Just opened them up straight from the box. I mean, it comes in a nice casing here. You open it up, it got and I think even so, the ability to plug it in too, which is nice if you ever wanted to go straight hardwired. They got all the stuff right there. Yeah, man, I didn't even have to charge this thing. We've been on this show for an hour and 52 minutes. I turned this thing on. It connected right to my computer immediately, popped right up on my laptop, said, do you want to connect to this EAH 800 headphones? I said yes, and then immediately I heard you guys. The sound system was perfect. You can do ambient noise, or you can do the complete shut off the world noise, and that's what I choose. I can hear myself talking to you guys. It's great. I love them. They're so comfortable. You forget that you have them on. I mean, I take them off right now. It's like you can't believe the kind of world you're in when you're in these things. You're in your own little world. I can connect them right to my phone as I'm talking to you guys. So, and I love this new black color that I have. I had the gray ones last time. This one I'm really liking.
Yeah, I've got the AZ80 True Wireless earbuds. I've got a striking midnight blue color. They also have black. They got silver. They're great. So shop for Techniques True Wireless lineup at us.techniques.com/foreplay. And just for foreplay listeners, you can get 10% off of your next purchase. That's 10% off to our listeners. You got to have a good set of headphones. That is us.techniques.com/foreplay.
I just applied for this St. Andrews thing, so we'll see.
Okay, great.
I think isn't it the same week as the Masters? Like April 3rd to 6th? Isn't that the same week as the Masters? Isn't the Masters April 4th?
Is the Masters a week later than that? I think the Masters, is like the 7th through the 13th.
Got it. A limited number of advanced public packages will be priced at €750 and feature 3 rounds of golf, April 6th to the 8th, with one old course, one old course reverse, and one at the Castle course, as well as a $60 food and drink credit and 2 buckets of balls. What a deal.
I had a seagull stole my breakfast sandwich at the old course one time.
Who did?
A seagull from the sky.
Fuck.
I know. I put it on like a little.
I'm also just like submitting my buddy who lives in London, who will absolutely go with me. and I'm just like, I'm just gonna meet you there. He hasn't.
He'll
Even, I'm
appreciate
just gonna
that.
wait to see if we get approved. I'm just be like, hey, we got a tee time
Oof.
at St. Andrews. So good. I mean, it's such a It's a little puddle jumper plane from fucking London.
Oh yeah.
I gotta get over to London, man. Fuck, I gotta go visit
Me
him.
too.
I actually thought about just like going like next weekend, just like going on a flight and just
Be a
going
good
there.
time to go.
So
You can do that.
easy. So easy to get there, especially when you have a place to stay.
Yep.
Like it's so easy to get to London, I feel like, that we don't take advantage of it enough being in New York. People commute from London to New York as a job, like all the time.
Yeah, not that far.
Mhm.
They'll go in Mondays, they'll come back Fridays or whatever. They'll go on the weekends. It's so easy. All right.
What's that bad boy? 6 hours for you guys? 6.5 hours or something?
Yeah, I think. Maybe even less, dude.
Problem.
6 hours to Ireland. All right.
I got hit in the nuts this weekend. When's the last time you guys got hit in the nuts?
Oh,
been
like
a long time.
actually,
It was accidental, but it happened, and you forget how unique of an experience that
it makes
is.
you want to puke. Gives you a stomach ache.
It's just a pain unlike anything else. Like you
How
get
did
hit in the
this
shoulder, you get hit in the
occur?
stomach, you get hit, but you get hit in the nuts. It's really quite the experience.
Brings you to your knees.
I was on my
It's
knees.
not for me, it's not the actual like nut pain. It's like that. It's that it goes right into the stomach and makes you want to puke. It takes over your whole body.
It's a very specific ache. Yeah, it sends pain. Obviously, you get hit in the nuts, it hurts where you get hit, but then yeah, right immediately goes right into the stomach.
Oh, it literally is like you want to go like, oh, it's fucking crazy.
I was trying to think, like, I probably haven't gotten hit in the nuts in 10 years.
How'd you get
Damn,
struck?
bro.
How did you get struck?
So I was playing golf and a guy hit his ball like near a pond. So he was looking for his ball. He found a ball that actually had the Pac-Man TaylorMade logo on it. It wasn't my
Ooh.
ball, but he had seen the putter cover that I had. And he's like, oh, you want this ball? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was sitting in my cart, just sort of, legs open, just like, yeah, I'll take that ball. He threw it. It got lost in the sun. Couldn't see it. And boom, hit me in one nut, hit my right nut.
Ooh.
And
Oh
it-
man.
it was funny. We were talking about it. Like, it doesn't make a sound. It doesn't go, it doesn't even sound like you're hitting your
Unless
arm.
it's
just,
Doc Redman hitting Jake Bass in the nuts from 165
Serious
yards
sound
away.
right there.
that made a sound, but this didn't. It just hit pure testicle and flesh.
Mm.
And I
God, dude, that
immediately
makes
stood
it-
up and I was just like, I'm going to be feeling that for the next 30 minutes at least. And I was.
Can't even hear that story and not feel a little bit of pain in your stomach there. That's bad, dude.
But that's what I mean. It's so unique to guys. Like, women have no idea what it feels like to get hit in the nuts.
Women get all the luck, they'll just never understand. That's like they avoid that forever.
So that's something that happened to me.
Hard to explain.
Impossible.
Well, I hope you feel better, Trent.
I feel good now, but in the
That's
moment,
good.
I was in House of Horrors.
That's great. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for this here podcast. We got Thursday, and we got a couple shows next week. And we are pretty much off that Christmas and New Year's week, and then bang, we'll be off running Century, Wales, Oceans, golf season, Scottie Scheffler time will probably be kicking. So everybody enjoy your week. We'll be back on Thursday.
We're coming out to Arizona.
Yeah, we are.
We're
Yep.
filming a match against Joel Dahmen. I'm just gonna, if I'm flying out there, I'm talking about it.
Talk about it.
If it's not happening, then I'm not going out there. Yeah, that's kind of my rationale. Like if we're afraid to say it, then I'm not getting on a plane. Like we are going and playing Joel Dahmen. The rematch is happening. Mesa, I think we're playing at, which is unbelievable again.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to go back.
Can't wait. Yeah, the sight of Trent hitting an 87 now. Like Joel has no idea what's coming. This is a home game for Trent.
I'm excited.
I love Joel. I love that man. We talked about him a lot a couple weeks ago. He was emotional out there. He made some huge putts to keep his PGA Tour card for next year. Netflix, he's all over the place. Really lets you in. He's a very vulnerable guy. He's in tears on Netflix, and then he's almost won the U.S. Open. He was contending. Then he's trying to keep his card. Then he does keep his card. His caddy Gino is phenomenal and become a big name in his own right. And first time we played Joel, he didn't have his best, but I think he's going to be ready for the fellas this time. And we got 3 now. We don't have 4. We're the 4-man scramble that is 3. So
That's a big deal. Puts you at a higher disadvantage for sure. I mean, Sam Burns boat raced us when there was 3 of us. So
yeah, but we also beat Adam Scott, beat Wyndham Clark, beating a couple people as the 3-man scramble.
So yeah, look for that.
Bang. Okay, everybody have a lovely, lovely day. We'll be back Thursday. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Dude.